Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt man!
All right, episode 111 of Shirt Show. We're talking with Zach from Selfmade Designs in Massachusetts. Let's go!
Hey, there he is.
Hey. Hey there.
Hey there.
Check, check.
Hey, can you hear me? Hey, you sound so good. What happened to the blonde? You're not having as much fun.
Zero fun, dude. Like, what's negative fun? Would it be just negative fucking fun? That's what I'm having.
Tell me about your week, bud. Have you just been sitting at home doing nothing?
Super exciting. So let's see. Yeah, I worked on Monday. And driving home, starting to feel like shit. I'm like, uh-oh.
After you just got done feeling
Jovid?
like shit.
That's awesome. Jovid. Jojo had COVID.
Oh, don't die.
And so, I got it. And stayed home Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Worked from home. It's crazy how that is, like I pretty much, I did all my emails and I even called and had phone conversations and things like that from home. It's awesome how that works. I'm proud of everybody here at the shop. They opened and they printed shirts and they closed and it's fucking rules. So
yeah, they loved it because you weren't there.
Yeah, let's be real. Let's be real.
Partied.
It was actually, they were like, God, I wish Andy had COVID all the time.
They were so productive.
But actually, it was pretty mild. Like, it hasn't been fun. Like, it's not rad or anything. Like, oh, I have COVID. I love it or anything. It's just, it wasn't that bad. But I feel better today, and that's a good thing, because you want to feel good. You want energy.
You going back to work on Monday?
And we have this. Oh yeah, and we have this amazing podcast to record, and there you are, right there.
I get to spend time
good with your finger in your mouth, and
thanks.
Yeah, we get to hang out. I was like, you were checking in on me so much. I was like, dude, enough with the check-in. And I'm fine. Don't worry about me so much. It's like every hour, man. You need to just chill a little with the
Got
are
all
you
those
okay
calls,
stuff.
All those calls I did get from you. You're like, don't worry, I'm alive.
Yeah, that's how I started my phone call. I had to call you yesterday. I didn't want to, and I'm like, hey, if I'm okay. By the way, before we just talk so about some business stuff. Just so in case you're wondering, I know you're probably busy. Like, you've got a lot going on up there.
No,
and I know I'm your best friend, and you probably, what it is how my immune system is. That
yeah, I didn't want to bother you.
Is that what it was? Hey, so guess what I did yesterday? Just guess. And I'll give you a hint. I'll give you first of all, guess. Give me one guess right out of your.
You sat on the couch and watched South Park.
That'd be fun.
And ate a gourmet Target pizza.
Did not turn the TV on during the day yesterday. Did not have a pizza yesterday. That was two guesses, both wrong. No. I did this here. I'll give you a hint. So I did this right after I hung up with you. I immediately went somewhere and purchased an item. I immediately went to a www.something.com and I bought something. What do you think that might be? Should I tell you how much it cost?
Yeah.
I know exactly how much. $910.
An air compressor.
Hell yes, I did.
Yeah, after I got done telling you I need a new air compressor.
Yeah, so I didn't want to be like you.
No, you wanted to be like me because I told you I ordered an air compressor, and you immediately ordered one when we got off the phone.
Is that how it went? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Well, Dylan tell us, why did you order an air compressor yesterday?
So, you know,
And why did I also?
I've had this Ingersoll Rand piston air compressor for fucking like 13 years. Ran beautifully the entire time. It's just an energy suck. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go get a more efficient air compressor. It'll be better for my electric bill. You know, it'll be a little quieter, all this other stuff.
And it'll be just like my buddy Andy.
It'll be just like Andy, yeah. Well, I had to get the better model, obviously. So I bought this high-end fucking...
Time. How is it better? I'm just curious.
It's variable speed. Yours isn't variable speed.
Bull fucking shit.
Mm-mm.
What do you mean? What's variable speed?
What do you mean? What is this thing that you have that I don't have? It's the new model. It's the variable speed one. So like yours is 15 horse, and when it runs at 15 horse. Or yours isn't even 15 horse, is it?
It's
is it 10?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So mine's 15. So
ooh, okay.
Yeah, okay. So anyway,
you so need that. You so need that extra
that's
horsepower.
not even the best part. That's not the best part. The best part is that if the shop only requires like 5 horsepower, it goes it kicks down to run at 5 instead of running at 15 so that it's more efficient.
Okay. And let's just see whose is more efficient. Whose was running yesterday and whose wasn't.
Well, you weren't there, so
it was on. It was running, yeah. I have an app on my phone.
Okay, so rub it in my face that you told me to get this air compressor, and I would get it for a week, and it fucking dies after a week.
I didn't tell you to get the variable speed. There you go. See? You would have just got the one I have.
Yeah, god damn you. So, fucking call Ingersoll. They set this thing up, and I don't know. It was just kind of a pain in the ass to get them here and get them to set it up. So it ran fine all week. And then yesterday, Bill comes in my office. He's like, press is sounding funny. It's making like, it seems weird. And I go out and it's just like low air pressure. So I go to the air compressor and it's not making air. It's running, says it's on full load and it's doing what it's doing, but the PSI is at like 30. We've talked about this on the show a couple of times, how I wanted to have a backup air compressor, and just in case anything ever went down, I would never be down. Well, anyway, I bought this brand new one, and I have on my like to-do list is to buy another air compressor to have as a backup. And I was like, oh, I'll get to it. It's on my list. And then the fucking thing breaks a week in. So first thing I do is I immediately hop on fucking HomeDepot.com.
Hold on, breaks. That might be the wrong word.
What?
Breaks, maybe.
Well, it's down. It's not working. So I call Ingersoll and they're like, yeah, we can get out there Monday. And I'm like, okay, well, I just had to send all of my staff home with a paid day off because the compressor's not working. They're like, all right, well, we'll try to be there early. I'm like, yeah, you guys better be here at 8 a.m. So I went online and I bought a, whatever it is, like a fucking Husky larger air compressor that
like
I can
portable, you know, it's on wheels,
I mean, it's just like a stand-up piston air compressor. Like it'll handle 2 presses.
But stand up, but
easily.
is it on caster, on big giant?
It's not on casters, but I'm definitely putting it on casters so that I can just wheel it in.
Why didn't you do the caster one?
I didn't see one with casters. You telling me there's one with casters?
That's what I got. It's actually like wheels.
Now I need to get bigger wheels than you have. I get gold-plated wheels.
Mine are 22s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice rims.
Cool. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, air compressor went down, and then what I ended up doing is we had 2 jobs I had to go out yesterday, so I went home and grabbed my air compressor from my garage, brought it down, and plugged it into the Sportsman, and we ran 2 jobs.
Smart.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Good job. Good job, man.
And yeah, so that was my week. I had my first official meeting with Kevin.
No, I think you told me about that.
I had my pitch me meeting with Kevin last time. Like this is what I could do for you. And I had my first real I paid you, let's figure this out meeting on Thursday.
What's he going to do for you? Is he going to tell you like how to screen print?
Yeah, he's going to teach me how to do some stuff.
Yeah.
No, we just have been basically for, I don't know, 7 years now, just taking inbound sales. Like every day we have an inbox and we go through and we make the invoices and send out all the mock-ups and do everything. It's basically just been customer service staff, like no sales staff. So he's going to help us with some, train the sales staff to be sales staff.
Mm-hmm.
Just get a little better. He's got some automations and some things in place that'll help us out.
Yeah, we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't know, a handful of Zooms with him so far. And it's been a little tedious because we've been going through like our process, like every single step of here. How do we, when a customer comes in to place an order, how does it work? And we had to just like hash it all that. And like, the if then, like if this happens, then.
Yeah.
So we went through the whole rigmarole, finally have it all in a document, like we're done, and which is the first step. And now we're going to go build scripts. And why like that's so important is because he needed to understand how, are we quoting at the front counter? Are we quoting in an email on a phone?
Yeah,
like,
he wants to understand.
What are we doing? And because he's going to, for a certain threshold account, I think I told you this before, we're going to recommend like a Zoom call or a phone call or something instead of just,
that's something we're talking about.
Shooting out this like quote that we're not going to talk to them about. So we have this whole plan, and we had to get that all sort of sorted out. And the reason why that's going to be so amazing is that now when we go to train somebody,
you'll have it,
onboard a new person on the customer service team or something like that. It's just all right there in a document. It's a living document that we can modify over time.
That's what I love about Kevin's approach, is that it's not like the 5 or 6 people I've talked to about that have worked with Kevin have all done different things with him. Mm-hmm. Like they all have their own like thing that they need tweaked. But like Kevin's big thing is like, this isn't the Kevin way. Like this isn't the set sales way. This is the upstate way or the Shirkong way or whatever. Like I'm just going to interject myself and kind of like, we're going to tweak and improve and level up. Like it's not,
what are you
I'm not
doing?
going to give you a PDF of like, this is what you should do and like
learn
do it and it's done. No, it's like, hey, let's try to like work together as a team for, whatever it is, 8 weeks or whatever we decide. And let's just level up the whole team. And at the end, we'll have like a whole, like everything's a doc, like you said, a living document of like, this is how Upstate does things. Mm-hmm. That way, anytime we bring someone in, just teach them the way that we do it. This is the way, Mandalorian style, and good to go. So
absolutely perfectly put.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to talk about our buds?
I do. I walked into the shop today, and like when you haven't been to your shop for a little bit and you walk in, you smell like, oh, that's screen printing shop and everything. Well, I didn't smell it. You know why?
Because you have no smell.
Yeah. So I tasted it to see, and still nothing.
Right.
Frank. I was just keeping you on your toes right there.
I don't know when it was, but someday this week, Frank called me and I forgot to call him back. Okay.
Well, you know what? I was just going to say that. You know how a couple weeks ago we said, hey, we haven't talked to Frank for a while. We need to call him. Well, when Frank calls, I fucking answer.
Yeah,
I'm a friend.
I was in the middle of something.
Okay. Well, I was too. Like I'm in the middle of things sometimes.
I think I was in the middle of pissing. So I didn't really
Doesn't
want to
matter.
pick up the phone.
Doesn't matter. I answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I talked to him.
Well, I need 2 hands, so I couldn't really pick up the phone.
Why?
I stumped you.
Because you can't. It's hard to find. Is that
There's
what
a
it
fire
is?
hose.
Oh. Yeah. No. He cares about us, and I care about him, and so I answered the fucking phone call, and we talked, and there was some good, actually some good things, really good things. He told me what he did.
You're super descriptive. All our listeners are like, wow, this is Really good. We talked about some things and, the things
Talked
that he
about
did.
stuff. He
Stuff.
told me, this and that, and
Wow.
that and this.
Cool story, bro.
He did say, how prices are just like up and up and up. Well, he said that some good news is that aluminum came down. So I'm like, oh, stoked,
Nice.
man. Like, this is good, right?
But
Because
mesh
he hasn't
went
raised
up.
his. How'd you fucking know?
Because
How are you the all-knowing? How are you?
Mhm.
How are you all-knowing all the time?
I'm just fucking smart.
You know so much.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it. Well, yeah, that's exactly what he said. He's like, I haven't, he did that first. He did one price increase a while back, and then he says, I'm not doing any more. I'm going to hold off as long as I can. And aluminum came down, I'm like, sweet. And then mesh went up. So it doesn't matter.
Well, the nice thing is hopefully it evens out and he doesn't have to change anything.
Well, that's a good way to look at it. That's a glass half.
3/4 of the way full.
Yeah. It all starts with a screen.
Yeah, it does.
And whether it's new stretches or restretches, Frank and his team do it the best.
Always.
Find out more. Go to FFFFF,
Rank.com
graphicscreenfashion.com.
or greatfuckingscreens.com.
I'm supposed to say or. Don't steal my thunder. I say or.
Sorry, man. I didn't want to. Yeah, I'm sorry. Daddy, I'm sorry.
Cleaning screens is no fun, but Easy Way makes it funner. Their line of eco-friendly chemicals will help you keep your screens and your shop clean. Check them out at easyway.com. Easy Way.
It's the easiest way, man.
Action Engineering. They make all kinds of accessories printers need. Go to actionengineering.com to have a look. And when you go to checkout, use code SS07 and you get 10% off.
Hell yeah. It's a great deal.
Mm-hmm. So Dylan, tell us, if you spent $1, how much do you get off?
10 cents?
Yeah, that doesn't sound very good though. Let's not use that example.
Well, why would
Like
you
you
buy
can save
something for
10
$1?
cents. You can save 10 cents at Action. We've got this code.
Mhm.
If you spend
$500, you get $50 off.
Yeah, that sounds like a little something.
Yeah. Because what do you buy in the screen printing industry that's less than that?
Especially these days, right? $1 doesn't get you what it used to. You can't even
Nothing.
buy gum or anything like that, right? That's my grandpa used to say. Monarch Color makes ink that does what it's so fucking supposed to.
There you go. There's assertive Andrew.
That's better. There it comes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They have the most opaque mixing system in the biz. To learn more, go to monarchcolor.com. Ink better, print better, be better.
Liv Moss.
Monarch. Next, we have Graphic Source. And look, can your shop use a little help from a friend? Friends, I should say, friends.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to want to go to 1-900hotstuff.com and get in touch with Nick or Lucas. And they're going to cure all of your art blues.
Yep.
Oh, man.
It was
Oh, man,
perfect.
Yeah, that was.
That was wonderful.
Okay, so get out your phone because I have a question for you.
Okay.
Where's your phone? Got it?
It's here.
You almost
Yep.
always have it. You're always fucking looking at it, and now you don't?
Mm-hmm. I got it. It's right here.
Got it.
Trying to be better for you.
Dylan, do you have a tip for us?
Sure. The tip that Andy texted me and told me to read is the bottom side of the screen, shirt side, is the most important side of your stencil. Always coat your last pass from the squeegee side to ensure you push all of the emulsion through to the bottom side. It doesn't matter if you are coating 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, etc. The last pass should always be on the squeegee side. Also, when drying your screens, dry them flat. Squeegee side up to let gravity pull the emulsion through to the bottom side and level out your coating.
You like that?
I do, yeah. So, like you say with GSF, it all starts with a screen. So,
It does.
get really, really good screens from Frank and get really, really good emulsion from Chromaline. Put the two together and you'll have the best screens there are.
Ooh. Yeah, that's like when a volcano meets a...
I don't know where this is going. Why would that be your first choice? A volcano?
I was trying to do like a Eminem song. I think he says that's when a hurricane meets a volcano or a earthquake or so yeah. And as always, go to chromaline.com to watch Kevin's hunky videos and learn all about the screen room.
Yeah.
Did it.
You did it.
There it is.
So you want to build up the emulsion on the back side of the screen so you have that good stencil wall for great prints.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so here we go. Ask me who our guest is.
Hey, bud. Who we got today?
Dylan, our guest today is Zach Achorn from Selfmade Designs in Boston, Massachusetts.
Perfect.
Did I do that right?
Yep, that's exactly that's how it's said.
Let's go with Boston, MA. Okay. Hey, do you know?
Or you could just say Massachusetts.
I can't. You can say that. Me, okay. I have trouble
Boston,
with
Massachusetts.
That. Boston, Mass. Ooh, that's cool.
Perfect. There you go.
I think that's how people say it up there. I would say they probably do. Yeah.
Okay.
Boston, Mass. Like if I live
like
in St. Louis, Missouri, I could say, yeah, St. Louis, Ms. Sort of like that. I never say that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
You may know him as the Can of Corn on Instagram. And I was like, always didn't know. I was like, can of corn, why does he must love cans of corn? Because who doesn't, right? I mean, it's fucking corn. Yeah. But his last name's Achorn. See what I'm pretty sure.
I put that together.
No, you didn't. No, you fucking didn't.
His
just now.
Name just has corn in it.
All right, never mind. So I'm ready. Are you ready?
We stretching?
Do you think his last name has corn in it, like the band Corn, the backwards K Corn?
Definitely. Yeah. Every time he wakes up in the morning, he goes,
mm-hmm. I miss Corn. They need to be on a reunion tour.
They are on tour right now. I follow their drummer on Instagram.
Okay.
Not a big Corn fan, but do like good drummers. You good, man?
Yeah, I always like to I order Starbucks, through the mobile app. And then when I go in, I always make an effort to say thank you,
Yeah.
Was that because you're bored or something? Like this story's no good? Because you don't have to listen to the story. I'm
listening to Starbucks. Continue. You always go in to say thank you.
Can you come in a little closer? Just pay attention.
Sorry, I forgot.
All right,
go ahead.
So
go into Starbucks.
I always make it a point to say thank you. Here they are. They're a barista. They're dealing with all these other people that are like, my coffee tastes bad or whatever.
That seems like.
So I'm always the guy that says when I go pick up my bowl of water, I'm like, hey, thanks guys. Have a good day.
Mm-hmm.
So this morning I did that. I picked up my drink and then I looked over to the girl who made it and I said, hey, thanks. And she looked at me like, what? Like I was crazy.
Uh-huh.
Like nobody said that probably all day. I was the first. And I said,
it's probably because you didn't have pants on.
Ready to let him in? We're just going to move on.
You always just bail. Do you think he has an Uncle Jimmy who cracked corn and he doesn't care?
I hope he does.
Hey, there it is.
I don't know why it wasn't working before.
It's all good. You got the dryer going back there?
No, I got the AC, so if it's too loud, let me know. I'll shut the AC off. We like to keep it under.
I hear the fan.
I can shut it off. I got you. Hold on. We like to keep it under 70 in here.
I don't blame you. The AC noise is totally fine. I just want him to sweat it out.
You're so mean. Like, deep down, you're so nice.
Uh-huh.
Are you giving me the finger?
Right now?
Oh.
No.
Mm.
What finger do you think I use for that?
I don't know.
What's up, dude? How are you?
Doing great, guys. How y'all doing?
Good. It's a nice Saturday. It's weird not doing it on Sunday,
Hell yeah.
but
I'm glad we can make it happen.
I would say most shops, hearing that you like to keep it under 70 in there, are going to be like, I'm going to move. Are you in Boston? You're in Boston, right?
Yeah. But to be honest with y'all, we were like, literally, we've had the hottest past 2 summers in the store that we've had. So it was like this year, we were like, all right, we're getting like 1200 BTU freaking ACs, whatever it takes to keep it cool in here. Like, it's been ridiculous. So especially after Eric with Night Owls dropped that 100-degree club shirts last year, we got those because it was like always 100 plus in here. We were like, this is crazy. But this year it's like cool, calm, plus we added the bleachers to the store for people to come in and watch the live printing. And then we're getting the popcorn machine coming in. So it's like, we wanted to make sure that it was like cool in here. Hell yeah, bro. You got to watch the magic happen.
And so bleachers, like actual bleachers?
Yeah. We built like 2 sets of bleachers. We originally had the bleachers in my gym for artists, but then like after a while, we were changing that around and we were like, yo, let's just put the bleachers right in the store. Cause like that way we were doing a lot of live printing before COVID. And then like once COVID started to die out with the storefront, we were like, yo, we want people to come in here, all that stuff. So we've been trying to make it as much of an experience as we can.
How is your place set up? You talking about bleachers and live printing and popcorn machines?
So pretty much the way it's set up, it's like right on a main strip, like on a street. And then, you come in, we have the storefront in the front and it's like a little setup. We got like our support local artist wall. We have like racks everywhere. I'm like looking at it now. And then, we have, back in the day for the gym for artists, we went like on a mission and we jacked like 12 6-foot chain fence pieces. So I use the chain link fences as like walls instead of actual walls in here. Cause when I was like building out the store, I'd been in a warehouse, like in the gym for artists for so long that I was like, all right, like how do I want this to look? And I started studying like mad high-end restaurants and stuff. And one thing I realized, I was like, yo, all these restaurants have exposed kitchens. Like they have nothing to hide. Like they want you to see how it's made and stuff. So I was like, yo, we're going to do the same thing. So we just made it so that like, the storefront actually goes into the print shop where like the racks will start to like morph into where the print shop goes. Awesome. And then the bleachers are like right underneath the racks and stuff. And then we bought like those like caution partitions and stuff. And we have those so that like you can go like right up to the dryer. Like there's one in front of the dryer where it like falls right under it and stuff like that. It's cool.
So what's all in the storefront? Is it stuff that you're making? You said you kind of got like a local artist thing.
So at first, like, we were just like, all right, we're going to do our own stuff. And like the way we really like looked at our brand in the beginning, because, one thing I like to tell people that want to start their own brands, whatever, if you want to start your own brand, don't start screen printing unless you're only going to screen print your brand, because, we started doing so many other people's stuff. And what ended up happening was we started to look at our brand as, all right, this was going to be like our testing platform, like, all right, we're going to try out like all these specialty prints with just our stuff, so that when people come into the store and stuff like that, we can give them like real examples, like right in front of them, like, oh, this is our puff. Oh, this is our glow in the dark. This is our sweat, like whatever the case is. So we just started putting all our own stuff. But, as of recently, it's been nice because more and more people have been coming into the store as like, COVID's dying away and people are getting back outside and stuff. So it's been cool because we've been approached by a lot of different brands saying like, yo, can we like rent out a rack on a monthly basis and stuff. So right now we're developing a program where it's like, we're going to have our own stuff, but we're also going to have like featured brands that work with us. Because like the goal of the store hybrid was always like, I want to have multiple stores like across the country so that it can like display screen printers and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
So have you always been in this space, or you said you were kind of in another thing before? Or?
Yeah. So when I first started, we were in like a 300 square foot garage. It sucked. There was no windows, no ventilation, no like anything. And that was where I really started the journey. And then, shortly after that, we like moved into like a 1,500 square space in a warehouse, but it was like completely shared. Like there was other people doing their thing in there and stuff like that. There was no walls or partitions. It was just an open warehouse. And, we took a staple gun and we put it like partitions with drop cloths like up, and that was just like our studio. And like we used to get busy in there. We'd be screen printing in the back. We ended up building like a recording studio in the front near the store and stuff. And we just like made it cool. It was, and like you figure when we started that, like especially the collective of people I had, we were all in like, you know, early 20s. Like at the time when I got the warehouse space, I was only like 22. And so we had like a dope ass little spot and stuff. And you know, that started to grow. You know, people started to leave, like other people that were renting from there. And we just started taking on more and more space until we eventually took over 15,000 square feet. So we have like the pretty much, I'd say like 90% of that whole warehouse is ours now. And I operate my nonprofit, the Gym for Artists out of there. So I'm super excited about that. And just
so that's a different space, or that's where you're at now?
No, that's a whole nother space. I was running the screen printing out of there. So like, that's where I started learning how to teach myself, how Cody started to, my right-hand man, like all that stuff. And like, we basically like taught ourselves and learned everything about screen printing and messed up a million times in the Gym for Artists when we were in the warehouse. And then it kind of got to the point where we're like, all right, you know, we need to display ourselves. Like we get a lot of love. We get more business when we do this live screen printing. You know, like how can we get ourselves out there? And then, you know, lucky enough, I was able to find out that the retail space right on the same street of the warehouse was coming up for availability. So right away, I just took it. I was like, I'm going to get it. Like, I don't know how this is going to work, but we'll figure it out. And then,
so you're diving the deep end.
Oh yeah, huge. And then I was like, all right, we're going to do this. Or what is, I think Bruce says it in his Printavo book. It's like, you just jump with the parachute. You just got to jump out the plane or whatever. But it's like, anyway, so we did it. And then sure enough, we're building out the store. Like we're trying to figure out like how we're going to do the store thing, all this stuff. And then, bam, COVID hits us. And we're like, oh my gosh, like what the hell? Why did we get this store? Like all this stuff. And believe it or not, though, COVID was cool for us, you know, because we specialize on brands. So it was like, it gave brands a ton of time to work. Yeah, exactly. So it was dope. But yeah, so right now we got the 2 spaces, and then I'm super excited. Like this is brand new. I really haven't said it publicly or told anybody much about it, but you know, we just closed the deal this week on our second Gym for Artists, and we're gonna have our first production facility for, you know, all the screen printing and stuff like that, where we'll actually get some autos and stuff. So it's awesome.
Okay, so you're gonna get another space that's not like retail front, that's more.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my whole thing with the retail front, I realized like really quickly, because like, you know, right now we got 5 manual presses operating in the retail front. We have 3 upstairs and 2 downstairs. And then the way like we're putting numbers out right now, like we're putting like big numbers up, and our efficiencies are good, but it's just like you can only do so much, you know. And like it's
I saw on your Instagram you had it set up to where, I don't know if this was just for the day, but you had it to where someone was printing and someone was offloading on the dryer or on the manuals. Yeah,
so the way we have it set up is dope, where we have I ended up getting like a suite. I ended up getting 2 of them, but the old like 15, 20-year-old Hopkins with the 4x4s, the old blue ones. I found like 2 of those on Craigslist. Both total, I got both of them for $300 and refurbed both of them. And so we have the Hopkins 4x4 on one side of the dryer. Then we have the Riley 150 single head in the middle. And then on the other side, we have a Riley, 4x6 or 6x4. And then, so it's cool because when we have our shop assistant working as the puller and catcher and stuff, we literally just put them right at the dryer and they pull from both presses at the same time.
All right. That's funny.
So it's cool. Yeah.
You, earlier you said that you have, you know, these bleachers where people can watch you print and things like that. I don't know about you, but it seems like whenever there's an audience, you know, or especially if it's their job that we're printing, you know, if that person happens to be there, I always like start to sweat because, you know, so many things can go wrong. Like you think you've got it and you're like, hey, come watch, you know, sometimes people say, hey, can I come like take video of my stuff printing? And we're like, sure. Yeah, come on, and put it on social and things like that. And so they're there. And then at any moment, you know, shit can like fucking go wrong. And it seems like it does a lot. And we can fix it, you know, like they're very fixable things, but you hate it when it's like right in front of them. And so I don't know. Does that ever, when you have an audience, does that ever happen to you where?
Do you block it out?
Yeah, it's funny. So like, I grew up playing basketball. Like I went up until college and played and all that. And it was, so I always loved like the crowds. Like I love being in the moment and stuff like that. So it was always like, to me, it was, I always compared the two, you know, I feel like my career in basketball ended and like shortly after art and screen printing picked up. So with that, I always like the crowd, you know, I like it was like, I always kind of looked at it as like, yo, how can we make this cooler and stuff? So like, you know, especially when people in here, like I'm at the point where I'll be flipping the squeegees up and like before I'm printing and stuff. And
it's
like
a performance.
Yeah, exactly. Like performing arts. I always say that. And like, it's, the way I look at it though is, you know, stuff's always going to go wrong in screen printing. That's what I tell people, especially when we're training people or teaching new people and stuff, is like, I always tell them, I'm like, don't stress out about being perfect because you can't be perfect in screen printing. You know, it's like one of the main things where, in my opinion, where the only time errors happen are because of human error. But that should tell you that like there's always going to be human error when it comes to screen printing. So it's kind of cool because, and like, I don't really worry about it because when stuff does go wrong or something, I look at it as like an opportunity to show the client or the customer, be like, yo, this is what this process is actually like. So when you're thinking, so when you're thinking like, oh, I'm just paying this kid or whatever, and like it's that easy, he's gonna do this and this, or they see the Cricut stuff online, it's like, no, like we break this down. And like I personally like it because it gives our clients more appreciation, especially like when it comes to like pricing, because when they see us set up a 6-color and like, you know, under 20 minutes and we're rocking it and stuff like that, it's like, holy shit, how did these guys just do that? You know,
you're over there like, because you're from basketball, you're over there like with a squeegee, like spinning it like on your finger.
Man, I did this thing, I don't know if you saw it on my Instagram, we did a live screen printing event and they had one of those like 360 boosts and stuff, and like I walked over to it and I was like, bro, I got the squeegee, let me go ham on it. I'm gonna start spinning it up, putting it through my legs, all that stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how did you get, because I looked through your Instagram and stuff, it looks like before you've always kind of been into art stuff. Yeah. So is that kind of how you got into screen printing, was from doing just always being into art and then that kind of evolved, or what?
Oh, hell yeah. Definitely an artist first. You know, I was always in the arts like my whole life. You know, I feel like the only reason why art had to take a back seat for the majority of the start of my life was because, you know, there wasn't really any example for me in my area when I was growing up. And what I mean by that, it was like, you know, it wasn't shown like, this is what you could do with your artistic abilities. This is what you could do as an artist and stuff like that. And so with that, it was always like, all right, what's realistic? You know, people are always going to put things in front of you that are more realistic, you know? So when I was drawing and doing all this stuff as a kid, you know, nobody was really like, oh, you could do this and this. They were always pushing me like, oh, you should try architecture. You would be great at architecture, you know, stuff like that, where it's like, you could go make money and do that. And so I went to architecture school for 2 years before I dropped out in Catholic University in Washington, D.C. And it was really dope. You know, I loved it. I was really good at it, but I just knew it wasn't me. You know, I was spending a lot of time in my books, like writing self-made, like trying to figure out the whole t-shirt thing and all that stuff. And, you know, it got to a point where I always wanted a clothing brand, but I wasn't aware of screen printing. Like when I first started trying to make a brand, I was honestly going down the heat press way until I tried it for the first time. I hated it and was like, all right, we're going to figure something else out. But the cool thing was, like, always my whole life growing up, my favorite artist has always been Andy Warhol. So like when I got older and realized how much of a screen printer he was, like that was everything essentially, in my opinion. It like really opened my eyes to like, wow, this is like, I like this shit. Like, this is what I could do, all that stuff. So, I just started diving into it. You know, I feel like I always joke around like I'm a product of Ryan Moore, because I just watched all his videos and then started it, and like now I'm here. So
you're hanging out with Ryan now, right? You're doing
that's my guy. Yeah, I'll be back in Made Lab. I'm super amped up to get like my skills up on the water base. Eric's going to be teaching a class out there.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah. Oh, word. Let's get it, man. Let's get it. So it's going to be dope. I'm like finding out a lot of dope people are going to be there. Like I just linked up with Sean Flores for the first time over at Acme Print, and he's going to be down there too. So I'm jacked up. It was crazy. We found out we have like a family connection from back in the day. Like our fathers were best friends growing up. They were like, grew up in the same neighborhood, like Corvette Club, all that stuff. And then
Sean's a good dude.
Yeah, he's the man. So I'm so excited to, you know, get to know him better and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's going to be dope. But yeah.
So how did you get involved with all that stuff?
I kind of just threw myself out there, you know. Ryan reached out to me at one point and was like, hey man, like I see you do this work. Like that's the weird thing about Ryan and I is like most people would be like, oh, you guys got connected through screen printing. And I'm like, nah, we got connected through working out. Like Ryan just saw that I was a screen printer that like was working out and he was going to start these challenges. And he was like, hey man, you want to do these challenges? And I'm like, well, they sound freaking crazy. Do I want to do them? No, but you know, you are Ryan Moore, so I might as well try
like the ice
it.
bath.
Yeah, I was like, I'll try it. And then it kind of just unlocked like a new thing in me. So now I do it all the time with him. Like, and I do it all the time on my own time. You know, like I literally was nervous I was going to be late on this because I had to like get my run in because after this, I got to run a quick job and then I'm teaching a print class and then I got to go to some other events. So I was like, let me get this done or whatever the case is. But, you know, I just linked with Ryan through like, you know, personal, like working out, self-growth and stuff like that. And then, you know, through that, I linked with like Richard Tilley and then like the three of us have just been like pushing it really hard. And then, you know, now we link up in the Made Lab a lot, which is cool. So, and we always get after it out there. So it's dope.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're trying to do more industry stuff too, or are you just kind of like getting out there like with, like the live printing stuff and all that, or what's your goal for all that stuff? Just be involved as much as you can.
Yeah, I keep telling people is like you know, I look at it as going back to what I said about being the example and like not having an example as a kid and stuff. Like I really look at it as like I want to be an example in the industry, more so for the printers. You know, I feel like the industry up until this point has been very designed to focus on the print shop owners and stuff, which makes a lot of sense because you know, we're the ones that operate everything and make stuff happen and put it all together. But, you know, COVID showed us a real thing where it's like, you know, if we don't have good printers and stuff, we're going to be in a tough situation, you know, because like all the owners can't operate all the presses and stuff. So one thing that I'm trying to really do in the industry is just be like example, not only as an owner, but like also as a screen printer, you know, like I'm a screen shop owner and stuff like that, but like I love screen printing, man. And
the
like
craft of it.
Yeah. So like I look at it as I want to start helping printers, you know, understand what they can do, because I think what stinks about the industry sometimes, especially with the bigger shops and stuff, is that like it kills the passion sometimes of the printers because, you know, they don't have an outlet outside of their job. You know, it's like, all right, we show up and we're busting out crazy numbers all day.
It's numbers based. It's
exactly.
Know, they're trying to get, you know, they're trying to get a certain amount of jobs done a day, and they're just focused on, you know, pieces per hour. They're not focused on, you know, let's do everything possible to make. So
what's your print? What's your recommendation for the outlet outside of screen printing? Like, say you work at a shop like that where you're just busting out prints all day. What do you think? Like, what's your recommendation? What should you do?
So it's crazy because, you know, I had been working on a project now since COVID started. Like it's finally starting to come more to life and stuff. But we were working on like a nonprofit project where it's like it's gonna be called Print Plugs, and essentially it's gonna be like a screen printers directory. You know, where like not only we have print shops in there and stuff, but we actually have like the printers in the print shops like have profiles so that like you can see what these different printers do, not only so that like you know who's out there, but also so that print shops have access to other printers. You know, like one thing that I want to do too is be an example of like a traveling printer, you know. So it's like I want to start, like I've been doing it, but I want to keep doing it, is like pop into other shops, help out for the day, you know, make it yourself available so that, you know, if shops needs help, they can be there. Like I was going to say this, wait for later, but I'm going to be driving from, Carlisle, Pennsylvania, to Saratoga, New York. So I'd love to stop at Upstate and fucking catch some shirts, load some shirts, whatever you need, man.
Hell yeah.
So it's going to be on a Friday. I think it's going to be August 26th, but I'll be there. So we're going to get it busy. But, yeah, man, like I will. I'm just looking at it as like, you know, really trying to give people like a community. You know, like I love our community and I think it's amazing. And the more I get into it, the cooler it is to me. But the one thing too, I've realized is like the older community, right, created a competition that doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't have to exist. You know, like there's so
closed
much
doors,
out there.
Everything.
Yeah, and it's just like, why don't we just open it up to people? So with the print plugs, it's like more so trying to get to the point where not only we have the directory, but start like creating locations where printers can go, you know, and train and work on themselves, you know. And I got that idea kind of from the Gym for Artists, because like with the Gym for Artists, it was like, all right, let's give people areas where they can go and actually work on their craft without having their own studio, or if they need their own studio, they can rent a private studio and stuff like that. And then it kind of just developed into screen printers, because like that was the thing when COVID happened. Cody was working at ESP, but like I was doing a lot of freelance printing. So I'd bounce around to different shops and like print for a few days, like 10-day contracts or whatever the case is. And when I was doing that, I was talking to all the printers, and all of them had the same thing. Oh, I want to start a brand. Oh, I want to do this. Or I love screen printing, or I started doing this. But all of them said the same thing. And it was like, they don't do it. When they leave the shop, they go home, they don't do anything else with screen printing. Yeah, they don't. And most of it was because they don't have the outlets. They're not going to invest into the equipment themselves or whatever the case is. So by creating like some sort of center and like having a platform that like can help with that, I really think it will, you know, spark the interest of screen printing and make it cool. You know, I feel like we just saw it big with the spray painting and graffiti over the past like 10 years and stuff, how it got a lot of interest, not only by the art world, but like the world in general of, oh, this is cool. Like, let's promote this. Like, we want this and stuff. And I think screen printing's next. And like, I want to be a big player in that. And like, you guys are doing the same. So,
yeah, I think it's one of those things that's kind of like, you know, everyone wants to feel part of a club or part of some kind of organization. And it's like me and Andy and, you know, all the people that we have all these groups together, and we have, you know, just the industry as a whole is kind of tight when it comes to like going to a trade show or something. We all get together and we have dinners and we hang out and we talk shop and everything else. But it's just like, it motivates you to do better all year long, not just like write that in there or just be social. It's kind of like you want to level up so that, like me and Andy, like we were just talking before you got on about like air compressors and like stuff. And we were joking like, oh, I want one better than you. But like realistically, there's competition. Like you want to,
that's healthy competition. Like healthy competition.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
It's all healthy competition. It's just kind of like here personally, you know, I have my staff printing, and yeah, they print and they go home and they do whatever. But it's like, I have Megan too, who runs the Gauntlet, and she's a woman who runs a press, and you know, I'm trying to get her involved in like the Print Girl Mafia stuff, and it's like she's texting me now, like, you know, I said I was going to the water base camp or whatever. She's like, oh, I would love to do that because I just want to like learn the craft more, and I want to like, you know, expand on this and this. And I think it's partly to do with the fact that, you know, she wants to be more involved and feel part of that, like the Print Girl Mafia group too. It's like they just want to elevate each other to be better people and better printers and better, you know, like women in the industry stuff. And
I have an interesting story that kind of relates to this, and that is somebody on Monday, end of day, somebody comes into my office, a press assistant comes into my office and says, hey, I just want to let you know that earlier today I interviewed at a different shop. And I was like, oh shit, he's putting in his 2 weeks for sure, right? And you said, you know, here's the thing, like, I know it's like right now it's tight because of money and inflation and all that. And, you know, they offered me more money, and I said, okay. And I'm thinking to myself, well, is it just money, or what, you know, like what else is it? Why are you leaving? Is it because you're not happy here or whatever? So I asked him, and he said, actually, yeah, you know, I'm on a certain press, and that press tends to print higher volume. So there's less setups and teardowns. And he says that he feels stuck, you know, like he feels stuck on that. Exactly what you were just saying a minute ago is that, you know, and we don't have quotas, so it's not like we have to pump out this certain volume, but he just feels like that's what he does. Basically, is a little bit of a robot sometimes, right? Because that's sometimes, you know, let's be honest, is how it is. If you're just offloading shirts all day, the same order, and that's a fucking
monotonous.
That's a different day than, and it's not that we do that like all the time, or that's every single day for him, but it turns out that it's maybe the balance is off, you know, so maybe half the time he's sort of doing that. And I said, and I actually called, I got home, I said, well, I just told him, I said, let me process this. think about it, and we'll talk, because he says I'm giving I'm not going to give that other shop an answer until the end of the week. And so it hurt my feelings because because of the shop he went to, because I hate that. I shouldn't say hate. Let's back this up.
No, say it.
I
let it out.
I have a dislike for that one shop, just because of a lot of things. I mean, there's a lot of shops in St. Louis you could have gone to, but not that one. And so I got home though, and I called Tony Tinyfish, and I'm like, Tony, man, this happened, and I bet you this has happened with you before. And he goes, yeah, it has. And he said, look, get over the whole fucking part about he even went to a shop, because I was sort of hung up on that, like, don't even worry about that. Forget it. Because you have to remember one thing. And one of them is that
I love fucking Tony wisdom.
Tony,
I do the same thing. We talk to each other.
He's good.
Yeah.
Like, he's got good stuff. And
what would Tony do?
Yeah, right. And he's like, look, you have to remember that as a shop owner, you're more unapproachable than you think. Because I'm always like, why didn't he just look, why didn't he come in here before he went to the other shop and interview? Why just come in here and say, Andy, here's the thing, like, budget sucks right now for me. I just had a baby, all these things. And I don't know if it's even possible, but I need to somehow make a little more money. What do you have any ideas? Is it possible? And also, by the way, I feel like kind of, I'm in a rut. I'm stuck on this press, and I want to, what are there other options?
It's intimidating.
But yeah, like, I feel like you could always come and, just walk in and tell me that.
We feel that way because we're real people, but to the people that work here, we're also their boss. Like, they want to be friendly, but they don't want to tell you everything.
Exactly.
They don't want to be like, oh, this guy's going to think.
And so he goes, just get over it. Don't worry about it. And instead, do you want to, is it in your budget to pay him a little bit more? And do you want him to stay? And so the answer to both those questions is yes. And, why am I and so he said this. He said, we do this thing here where they do a rotation, so like, they have, and not just the rotation I was thinking of, because, wow, okay, well, that's cool, easy. Like, press assistants can rotate to different presses, and then they get a different feel for their days.
And everything.
He has that, yeah, where it's actually where quality control actually rotates into press assistant. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's for like 3 months or something. So they all kind of
like a whole series.
Yeah.
It's complicated, but cool. I think it's also good because everybody's cross-trained into different roles. So like, if somebody's missing, then you can jump in.
Well, he does like the gold star kind of thing, where it's like, once you're cross-trained in the next thing, you get a bump in pay. Once you're trained in the next thing, you get a bump in pay.
Right. So I don't know. I thought that was interesting that you said that, if you get burnt out, let's say, because you're kind of stuck in the same role. What are your other outlets? And so one of the things that I told him, because he's staying now, we had a conversation and he's staying, and I told him that we're going to work on some sort of rotation. I don't know if it's going to be as like Tony's, as elaborate as that, but we're going to definitely rotate a little bit, because I think that's a good thing, right? Isn't it? Yeah. Isn't it? On one hand, you want to be on the same press because you're used to that press and you're used to that team, and you're going to function more efficiently with that team. On the other hand, you're going to get burnt out.
But you're not thinking about the human aspect at that
exactly.
point.
Well, the other thing too is you're not feeding the passion at that point. And that's one thing that I try to like double down with here is making sure everybody's got to start as a print assistant. Even if you come to me and you have print experience, I'm going to start you as a print assistant. I'll put you through a test, but I'm going to still start you as a print assistant. And like, the reason for that is because we kind of do the bounce around thing too, but it's like, obviously we're on a smaller scale, but it's one of those things where, I want everybody to understand and know the process, because like, when you know the process and you're doing the process constantly, you start to have, in my opinion, I see that like people have more appreciation for the different parts, because like, if you're doing, separation, and then you're cleaning screens and then coating them and then burning them and then you're mixing the inks and then you're doing stuff like that, you don't mind just having to show up and print on a press for all week anymore, because you're like, I'd rather be doing that than being stuck in the dark room ripping screens all day, So it's cool. So that's like one thing I definitely agree on. And then the other thing I was going to say that, we just started implementing Monday. Actually, we started it for the first time because our schedule is a little different. We set it up so that we're open to the public on Tuesday through Saturday. And then so Sundays and Mondays are our close days, but we just started working on Mondays as a team. And like what we do is we work half a day and all we do is prep ourselves for the week. We try not to even print. We're just trying to be like, all right, this is how we set ourselves up for the week as a team. Everybody's aware of how we need to flow and stuff. And then the second half of the day, for the rest of the day, we do team like fun development stuff. And to be honest, I got this from Alan Benedict at 12 ounce. I've been talking to him for a while now, and like when I went up there, I learned a lot from him. And that's one of the things that he told me he wanted to implement at his shop. But like picking a day where it's like you give the opportunity to your team and to your staff to be able to like create, you know, and like enjoy the screen printing process, like work on a project that they want to work on. Hey, if you've never printed or you want to get more press time or whatever the case is, you know, this is the time to do it, where you don't necessarily have to worry about a business. Cause that was the one thing that I kept running into every shop I went to, including my own, was like the hardest thing as a business owner and as a shop owner for screen printing is that training time. You know, because the training time is where you lose money, and it's also where it's the biggest risk because you're spending money or you're training somebody. And like you were just saying, they could go to the next shop. And that's like the hardest thing is once you train somebody and build somebody up and they leave you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
Yeah.
Andy, do you think that guy at your shop actually went to the other shop, or he just knew that you had a hatred for that shop and used it against you? He just walked in and was like, I went to so-and-so, they offered me more money, and he had you over a fucking barrel. And you were like, well, just to spite this guy, I'm going to give you more money.
So a couple things there. One, you're right. And I think that as shop owners right now at this moment in time in the world, we really have to acknowledge the fact that everybody's looking for a little more money. I mean, shit costs more and their money isn't going as far as it did. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of shops get this right now. I think that this is maybe just the first one that's happened. And it actually made me think and take a hard look at, wait a second, you know, am I paying people enough? If they're willing, because I always thought I have, like my thing has always been to pay people more than fair, actually more than other shops in town. I want them to be like, hey, I'm at Shirkong and I've got it the best. You know what I mean? Like I have zero reason to go to a different shop. And I think that I did have that dialed in pretty good, but I don't know that I do anymore. I think that we might be a little under, and that I
feel like I've given more raises in the past 2 years than I've ever given ever.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like every 2 months I'm like, well, here's a raise.
Yeah.
Here's a raise.
I think that, and I normally don't do that. So I normally just give raises at annually at performance reviews, right? Because one, you don't have time. There's just too many people and it's hard to monitor them all. And when somebody comes, I used to think when somebody came to me outside of that for a raise, well, there has to be a reason. Like, are you going beyond expectations? You do something, you know, are you doing something else? Have you assumed like a different role that justifies it? I mean, I'm not just going to willy-nilly, okay, sure, fuck it. You know, like here's some more money. And in fact, I used to be, what?
I'm literally about to do that on Monday. Like like Chris and Brian have been with me for forever, and I want to give them more money, like always, because they're super, super. I mean, they're my best friends, but also like they're super loyal to the cause. Like they will stay late. They will do whatever they got to do to make sure that like just shit runs.
That's crazy valuable.
Right. It's you can't even put a number on it. It's just like, I want to give them another raise to like where they're, you know, just making more money in general because I can, but I want to walk into Brian's office and be like, hey, like, I'm giving you this raise. Like, I'm not expecting anything different. Like, it's just a raise because you're worth it. But I also want to be like, can you work on this thing for me that I know you don't want to work on?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
And I think beyond that, even added to it, and that is wouldn't it be cool as fuck if you were like, look, I know that everything's costing more right now. Inflation is real, and across the board, everybody gets a raise. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know
that's
that's
pretty much
like,
what I'm doing. And we talked about this is like, I went to the accountant and had a meeting, and they were like, hey, you need to spend more money because if you don't, like, you're basically going to have to give it all to the government at the end of the year. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to do more benefits, and I'm going to do more of this, and I'm going to give raises. And I'd rather give the money to my employees than to the government. And I don't need really to buy more equipment. I'm probably going to buy some more equipment, but I'm not enough to offset what they're telling me.
More toys.
Right, more toys that I don't necessarily need, but I need because I need to spend money.
Right. But, I mean, I think we just got to start getting creative as shop owners. I think it's like I said, the original business aspect of it was so cut and dry, but like we're in an industry where I feel like we're allowed to be creative, and the other thing too is like our industry involves teamwork so much, like, and that's the one thing I feel like people don't, like, in other industries don't have to worry about, but like if you have a good print team, everything's awesome, and that means like keeping people happy, like making sure they understand, this is what we're doing as a team. Like we got to make this happen. So I agree. Like the pay thing, that's what I'm working on right now. Like I just told Cody, I was like, bro, I'm going to be paying you more. And like the other thing too, is we had to start onboarding more people, so like with that, I had to start getting creative because you're essentially trying to add more people so you can generate more money and do more work. But you also have to look at it as like, all right, how is everybody going to be happy? And how am I going to be able to do this without having to be stressed, So, it's figuring out stuff like that. So, I mean, you can get creative with it. I come from the banking industry. When I dropped out of college, I actually sold mortgages for 5 years while I was building all this. So like I was able to understand the commission part. So like, that's one thing that we try to implement in our shop where it's like, and it feeds to what I was saying earlier. We're trying to make sure your team doesn't lose their passion for screen printing. It's like, how
are you doing that? How is that? You say commission structure.
Yeah. So I set up the commission structure is set up for my main person that like operates through with the commission.
You're talking about just the salespeople.
No, even our printers. So it's like the way it works is like our salesperson, that was like the big sell to get them on board. And like it's a new thing because like she's officially starting, like we had to negotiate for a while. So she's officially starting actually in 2 weeks. So we're excited for that because I had to figure out how to make a balance with the printers and giving her commission and stuff like that versus higher hourly rate and stuff.
Right.
So with that, we were like, all right, we just have to have a base for her. We figured what that base commission was going to be. And that was enough incentive where she looked at it as like, all right, like I want to be there. I want to get jobs for these guys. I want to get jobs for the company because I'm going to get paid, and that's what you want as an owner. You want your person to show up, be like, yo, I want to see you guys grow. And then with the team,
I've done that. And I think the base is the biggest thing for them because they're scared of just commission because they're like, what if I don't get a sale? Then I'm not going to get any money. But if you're like, oh, I at least give you a base so like you can budget for things as a human being, like your rent and everything else.
Well, that was the main thing is like, I told her straight up, I was like, yo, we got to be honest with each other. Like, what do you need to survive? Because I'll give you an opportunity and I'll make it so you can survive. But the bonus aspect and like with the commission is like, that's going to be on you. Like if you really want to last here and you want to make a lot of money, you just got to put in the work. You're going to have a good time working here and stuff like that. So it was cool. And fortunately she's coming from the restaurant industry, which I think some of the best conversion employees come from the restaurant industry into screen printing. So we're excited for that. But with the printers, it's like, it's nothing crazy. Like you're not going to get like filthy rich off of bringing one deal and closing one deal, especially if you're only doing it once a month. But it's just incentive to like make people understand, like you're part of this team, you're part of this company. And that was actually one of the things that I wanted to ask you guys about, because like what you guys thought about it, because one of the things that I wanted to start looking into, especially for the retail store aspect, where we have like, it's not like a full operation going all the time. It's more so like it's a collective, and we're going to have other locations with other teams for those stores and stuff. But like, have you guys ever thought about like, or talk to anybody that does it or them mention it about like, really divvying up small ownership through the whole team?
Like a co-op.
Yeah. And the
ownership.
reason for that is just like I was saying, it gets them like the reason why I was always thinking about it and I've been thinking about it more is because it's like, damn, like that would really get people to understand and make them feel like it's theirs too. And so like one thing,
I was going to say, there you go. Tiny Fish again. He has profit sharing at his shop. Sweet. So I don't think that they're owners necessarily. So in other words, like, they don't have actual shares of the company, but they do share in profits. And so I think that's part of like an incentive. It incentivizes to do a good job, right, and to care about your company. And so they do share profits. I know that it's an extra calculation, and I'm not sure. It's probably a simple. We have to have Tony on again. There it is.
I gotta meet Tony. Yeah, I want to meet Tony. I gotta meet this guy.
He's a great
guy. But you should, when she starts, you should do like the Wolf of Wall Street scene where, like they talk about making money. And or they're like, hey, no, these shirts aren't going to sell themselves. Let's go.
Yeah,
hype them.
Yeah. I love it. Nah, yeah. So, but going back to it is like I said, where all that stems from to me is just like, how can we create the best teams? Cause that's all it is like, we all have our own team, and like, that's the cool part about it. Like, and it goes back to what I was saying too, where it's like, it should be all friendly competition in this industry, because at the end of the day, you're really only competing within your own team. You're not really competing like against other teams and stuff, because there's no place where we're like, all right, we're both going to run this same exact job for the same exact client, Upstate versus Shirkong, and like, we're just going to go fight against.
We all know who's going to win there. We all know. Upstate, of course.
I didn't even bat an eye when you said that.
Look at he just chilling like here. He's like, yeah, you better answer that question. Who's going to win? You better answer.
Well, the funny thing is like with like I do a lot of video stuff with M&R and like travel around and see some places, and it's funny. I've been to some of the biggest shops in like the U.S. And it's funny, like you walk in there and you talk about stuff, and one of the questions we have to ask them is like, what are you cool with us filming? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, are you cool with us filming this job or whatever? And they're, like we went to Design Inc. in Utah, and that place is massive. And they're like, yeah, you can film anything in here. Like, I don't give a shit what you film. He's like, honestly, I don't care if people see who we're printing for, because if they go to that person and steal that customer away from me, then like I wasn't doing my job. Like they have zero worries about competition, because they're just like, that just means that we're not doing a good enough job.
Exactly. Just like I was saying with the high-end kitchens, it's like, it's the same thing. It's like, we have nothing to hide. Like, we are that confident in our stuff. I look at it too as like, and it was cool because I had a great conversation with Brian Lassard about this, right? About just like the exchange of knowledge within the industry, and how like it's finally getting to a point where like there's no like, oh, I'm gonna hide this. Let me hide this. I know what the answer is, so let me hide this right here. It's like, no, let's pass this around. Like, who's going to do it the best?
I think the biggest thing with the sharing of knowledge is it's getting people more and more aware that it's a trade and it's a craft than the people in the world who think, because like if you can level up all these screen printers and all these screen printers can showcase like, this is how an actual like high-end print is made. It's going to more and more be on social media. It's going to more and more be out in the public eye. And the public's going to know that when you order a shirt, it's not like you order shirts and it's just a big Epson printer in the middle of the room that they feed shirts in one side and they come out the other side. You know what I mean? So it's like leveling up everybody is it's better for me, because I feel hungry to like keep growing and keep doing, like, not growing as a company, but just growing as a craftsman, like as a tradesperson of like, I want to do better all the time. So it's like good, healthy competition, but it's also like, it, like I said, it gets the public eye away from like the custom inks and stuff, where it's just like, I just need to order shirts. Like, I don't care what they look like. I don't care what the quality is. I just need to order shirts. It's like, if there's a focus on quality and like craftsmanship, then people are going to stop just wanting to buy shirts. They're going to go to their local shop and they're going to say, I want this, and this is why I want this, and I want you to make it.
A rising tide raises all ships. And also what I think you have to remember too is and you had that analogy of a kitchen, is that you can give somebody your recipe, but that doesn't mean they can make it taste just like yours. It's super tough. And I think that it's incredibly complicated.
It's like those Instagram pictures of it's like cupcakes with like, like a little kid's party, and like someone made them like a perfect bear or like, whatever. And then it shows the mom who tried to make him at home from the same recipe.
And
it's
like reality.
It looks like super fucked. It's like super botched.
Well,
I mean, it's like, you can know, but you're not the craftsman yet. Like, you have to grow and get there.
Yeah, that's like
100%.
what's his name? Like he was the one that really showed me that. Like that's why I was like, yo, this guy to me, he's a goat in the print world, and he's one of the best to do it. But Mads from Amsterdam and like Mad Specials and like yo, his stuff is insane. But like when I first started getting into like specialty printing and stuff, like probably like 4 years ago, I was asking him mad questions, and that's what I thought was so cool about him. He didn't like, we don't even speak the same language, but he was still translating it for me and stuff like that, and like sending me information, and he would give me enough information so I had to go do it. And that was the coolest part about it, because it taught me right away that I had no experience in this, so it was going to fail miserably. Like I remember the first time he taught me to do like thicker coats and like start working with capillary and stuff, and I messed it all up, and his responses were just laughing at me.
You
like,
have
just
to.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only way you make it your own.
You have to fuck it up. Like that's what people don't realize is they're like, we could give you all the answers, but you have to literally fuck it up. Like you have to, because if you don't fuck it up, you're not going to learn, and you're not going to know how to do it the right way. Like if you do something flawlessly, you don't know how it could have gone. Like you don't know all the variables. And it's like if you fuck up, you learned a variable right then and there. Like this can happen. Don't do it this way, or you're gonna have this result. So like,
and isn't it so cool that the interweb is bad in so many ways, but also is unbelievably powerful, because you were having a conversation with somebody on the different part of the world. That's a screen printer, you just said, in Amsterdam, and here you are in Boston. And I don't know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that doesn't happen. That conversation doesn't happen.
I don't even know he exists 10 years ago. That's the crazy thing, in my opinion, is you don't even know. I don't even know half of y'all exist 10 years ago because of social media, which is insane. Right
now, in conversations, I'm in direct messages with this shop in Ukraine that's 60 kilometers from the front lines. And that this guy, like, we're trying to get him on the show. Dylan and I have been trying to get him on. This guy's shop, literally his team, they rotate out of serving. Like they go out to fucking war and then come back to the shop. I had him scheduled, and he had to say, timeout, pause, we have to reschedule because I'm actually got called in. And so I know, like, this is going to be crazy. Like, can you imagine if you have this shop and you're successful and you're happy and all, like life is good. And the next thing you know, you're getting shelled,
that's crazy.
It's crazy. And so we are trying to have, they're going to be on, and they actually have this fundraiser shirt that I ordered, but it's coming from Ukraine, and shipping right now is sort of tricky.
Insane.
And so I ordered it, and I don't have it yet. As soon as I get it, I'll show it to you. But like, it's really it's amazing that, you have this reach now with whether it's Instagram or whatever it is, that I can message this person and he can, it's funny because Dylan asked me, does he speak, how is his English? Cause is this going to even work? Like, are we going to be able to have an episode where we understand him, or is there a translator or whatever? And it's a little broken. Like it's, I think he speaks English way better than writing, because you can, there's like that translator or whatever. That they're using. So I don't know. I'm excited. I'm stoked for that one.
That's what the beautiful part. Like I got same thing recently. Not like that. I mean, that's crazy. That's some that's next level stuff. I cannot wait for that show. That one's going to be epic. But like same thing is like I got connected with some a print shop out in Guatemala, and like they reached out to us. We got connected. They're like, we want you to be our US printers and stuff like that, American printers. And like they're actually coming by the shop today, and it's like, it's crazy because like we're talking about developing self-made blanks with them in Guatemala. And it's like, that would have never happened like 10 years ago. I probably wouldn't even have had any interest in going to Guatemala. Now I'm like, all right, when am I going? Like I gotta hop on a plane. I gotta go check out the shops. I gotta go see how these are going to be made, like all that stuff. So it's insane how like just the access. And that's one of the things I tell kids when I'm teaching the classes, whether it's the screen printing classes, arts, or giving talks at the schools. It's like, there's no excuses nowadays. Like you want to do something, you have the best opportunity now. Like we were saying, you have communication, you have connection to people all across the world that you can put yourself in front of them. And then on top of that, it's like, you got to look back in the day, whether it was music or it was actual like visual arts and stuff like that. If you did a piece of work, you actually had to take that with a physical copy, and you had to either walk, fly, travel all the way down to the radio station, the art gallery or whatever. And then you had to convince the owner of those places to actually showcase your work to be seen. And it's like, now all you have to do is just take a picture and put it on the internet. And it's like,
show them your Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the crazy thing. And that's one of the things too, that like kind of, you know, is weird now. Like you were guys saying, like, it's like some shops want to show certain things. Some companies want to show certain things, show their clients, and some are very like hush hush about it. And that's one of the things that I've been trying to like figure out, you know, how I really feel about that, you know, because like, I feel like I got to where I am right now simply just off of the social media aspect, you know, especially because I was so in the art world that when I started, I was like, all right, how can I really get to the next level? And I realized, all right, you need to focus as a screen printer, like only make sure you're screen printing every day. Make sure you're pushing screen printing. You're connecting with, you know, people like yourself and like Ryan and those companies, or M&R, all those companies, you know. And once I started doing that, it all started to click. So like just, you know, showing people, hey, this is super easy. All you got to do is post it on the internet, you know. So it's interesting. We'll see how it moves forward. I'm dealing with one of the agencies that I work with for live printing. I hope this doesn't get me in trouble, but I have to have.
You're doing stuff with Hit and Run, right?
Oh man, why'd you have to say the name? I was trying to keep it as an agency. No, I love Hit and Run. I had always wanted to print with them and stuff once I found out with them.
I love that place.
Yeah, Brandy's the man, dude. He's a super cool dude. Like, he created a really dope platform, and I feel like, you know, a lot of people have been able to create their own off of it because of him, and like take a lot from him. And you know, he's created something really big. You know, when you really take the time to see the type of stuff he's done, it's pretty impressive. You know, like, this dude has had at times where one year he did like over 365 events in a year, live printing. Like, that's insane to think about. You're literally running a print shop that's live. That's in like, to have it across the country. Yeah. The man's amazing. You know,
I have the Hit and Run custom vans.
Oh, you got those? Oh man, I was hoping they were being the gear package I got, but I was being too optimistic for that one. But no, I got some of the shirts and stuff. But no, Brandy's awesome. You know, the tough part is like, you know, I get it. You know, I get how the brands operate. I get how he wants to operate and stuff. So we're trying to figure out a thing that works, because, you know, I like to take photos and I like to take videos of myself, especially when I live print. And I know that's new to the industry, especially his industry. So, you know, I'm hoping we can find a nice middle ground. Otherwise, unfortunately, you won't get to see my beautiful face from Hit and Run events, because I like doing Hit and Run events. They're always a blast. So
it's awesome.
Oh yeah.
So what's next for you guys? You said that you got a new place and you're gonna go auto and all that stuff. How does that change you and Selfmade and all that stuff?
It kind of just, you know, it keeps us right on track. Honestly, it's funny because Cody's my right hand man. You know, print life with Zach and Cody, better than the TV show. So it's just kind of how we always planned it. You know, like, we've always known, like, when we started Selfmade and we did the Gym for Artists stuff, like, you know, we knew we were dope ass creatives. And we were kind of just like, you know, when we got to try a bunch of stuff for it all to click, you know, like, even with the screen printing, you know, like, he worked at another screen printing shop. I worked there for a little while with him when I was doing the freelance stuff. And like, you know, we really got ourselves involved and we realized what we wanted to do, you know, and we wanted to make it our own and stuff like that. So, you know, what we started to do was we wanted to make it so that it could be a platform and it didn't like confine us. So with the stores, in the production facility, they really complement each other super well, in the sense, like, we wanted to get the store on point so we could use it as like, not a front, but a funnel to like generate more business and stuff. Yeah.
Especially if you're downtown.
Yeah, exactly. So we got it to the point where, like, once we get the production facility, it's going to cut off like bigger orders. Like, we're only going to do pieces 50 and under in the store. And then like everything else will just funnel right into the production facility. And then what we kind of want to do is just like, once the production facility is up and running, you know, and that's all good, we just want to start opening more stores. You know, we look at the stores as like, they're going to be our displays for printers to spark interest in screen printing. And they're also going to be our best salesmen, you know, because they're still teams and they're collectives and they're bringing in local people, you know, so it'll be cool.
Makes sense. That's awesome.
Yeah. Franchising the screen printing game. That would be cool. But yeah, and then myself, man, like I keep saying it, and I've always say it, and I'm always going to say it, I'm trying to be one of the dopest artists and, one of the best screen printers to ever live. So, I'm just continuing the journey. I'm going to be going down to Made Lab in a couple weeks. So I'm super excited for that. I'll see y'all down there. And then it's crazy. I just got my notification today. So I'm actually hopping on. I'll probably be going right from Texas that Monday right to Orlando. And I got my rock training. So I'm actually going to get trained as a freelance technician for rock. So
Nice.
If they need to send me out or whatever the case is, I can go do that. But the other reason too is I've been looking at the P14. So I think that's going to be the first auto that we get, which will be dope because we'll be able to do it. Yeah, we'll be able to do a ton of colors. And then I kind of became a little, I don't want to say bougie, but, the finer things. When I went out to 12 Ounce Prophet, I got to see like his whole production and how they do everything. And like, they're on some crazy quality stuff. So when I saw that, I was like, yo, I want to make sure I can run 2 flashes, an iron, like, Stampinator, all that stuff. So we can just put out the craziest of quality of work and stuff. So I figured if I got the P14, that would probably be the best move. So that's what I'm looking at right now. Yeah, if you got
space for it, might as well.
Yeah, exactly. And like the cool thing too is like, you guys do it on a whole nother level, which is dope. And like, I saw that when I went this week to Sean's place and stuff. But the dope part is like, especially, when it comes back to like the quality of the screen printers for the press operators and stuff like that, I really want to see like, and this is the way I'm going to be approaching it, is just making it ideal so that it's just like very lean. Like I feel like I can create a super lean shop with just this P14 and maybe like a smaller one or like honestly just like an 8-color manual even, and then next to it. And I feel like if you just have the right people in there, you can have a super lean shop, especially the way they're creating these presses nowadays, like, the rocks and the M&Rs is like, they're putting out ridiculous
When you say
numbers.
Lean, are you referring to the size of your team or that lean philosophy?
Philosophy, more so philosophy, and just making sure like, the people that are in there, like for the most part, Cody and I are going to be the main people that operate that shop, because we have the auto experience, we have the auto knowledge, we have the full printing knowledge. Like we're, on our team, we're the print masters, so we have to be conscious of that. So with that, we're going to be the ones that are in there the most of the time and then developing it from there. And like, that's what we did in the store. And we kind of realized that's the best way to go for us, at least. That's the best way to go about that lean process is like building it off your core and then adding the right pieces and like developing the right way that works for you. So that's the way we want to do it.
Making it efficient.
Yeah, exactly. Because I did that with the Gym for Artists. I'm not even going to lie. Like I built that up so big, so fast because it was a community space and it was dope and stuff like that, that it was like, I realized what can happen if you build something up so big, but your system isn't lean, and that like can get to a point where it starts running you. And I've been down that road with that. So it was like, that's the last thing I want to do when it comes to, the production facility of the screen printing side. Because the other thing too is I realized, once you go production status of that level, like you guys are at and stuff like that, is like, there's really no, like, yeah, it's fun, but you can't look at it as like it's fun in games. It's like, no, you got to make money. You got to produce and you got to put out good stuff. And like, there's no like slowing down that machine once you start it. So just being fully conscious of that while we build it.
Makes sense.
And all that changes over time too, because
exactly.
What works in year 1 of having the auto maybe doesn't in year 2 or year 3 or something, so it's it's so weird how that works,
Yeah. And there's so much like research development that goes into it because like, every shop's different in my opinion. That's why I think the chat rooms are so funny and like all the comments on Instagram and stuff are so funny.
No, you have to do this and you have to do this.
Yeah, it's like are you kidding me? I'm like, dude, I got a video I'm about to drop on YouTube as a blooper or a funny reel, and it's me burning screens with baby oil with my shirt off. And it's like, I'm literally burning screens like no problem with baby oil and pieces of paper that I printed out of the freaking regular printer. And it's just like, you're going to tell me there's only one way to do this? No.
Making the paper transparent?
Yeah, all you gotta do is toss that baby on. You already know. Put the oil on there. The white becomes transparent, and bam! Look it, there you go, magic. Or like, we started. I'm not even gonna lie. We started. I remember the first printer we tried to print films on. I had to try to rerun the film through just to get it dark enough and stuff, and that was a cluster. And then like the next thing we realized, we're like, holy crap! Teachers have to go to Staples all the time to get film transparencies for their projectors. Why don't we just have Staples print these for us? And then Staples prints them for you for like $2, $3, whatever the case is. So it's like, if you have a will, there's a way, and like, that's the one thing that I love about the screen printing process. A lot
of DIY.
Yeah. And like, but the cool part is the DIY helps you learn,
Yeah.
And like,
That's what I said. You gotta do it wrong.
Exactly.
Not that DIY is wrong. I'm just saying it's the hard way usually.
Yeah. And then you get the right way and you're like, holy crap, I wish somebody just handed this to me.
Right, exactly. For sure.
That's like one of the more popular, parts of our show is the shop hacks. Like everybody always, raves about these shop hacks. And shop hacks, what are they? Well, they're just different ways to do things. It's lean, actually. It's like a lean process of, I didn't even realize you could do this or you can do that, or like shortcuts and stuff that are.
Y'all been doing it for a while. Me and Cody have been watching yours for like a ton, like especially because when you've been given the updates, like, oh, this is how the week was. We're like, damn, man, that must have been a week over there. Holy crap.
Usually it's a week when Andy's like, you tell me about yours. I don't even want to talk about my week.
That's when you know.
That's when you know.
You don't want to relive it.
Yeah, that's when you know. But yeah, stuff like that. I love that stuff. Like, I feel like, you guys definitely set the way with that. Corey's been doing an amazing job with it over at Floodway. Like, he's always putting like research and development on. And like, that's the cool part. And that, like, I feel like that's the fun part for owners. And that's the part that I feel like if we focus on the teams, the owners will have more time. Yeah, the owners will have more time to do on that stuff. Is like, all right, how are we going to get it to the next level? Like, I'm super excited because like we finally are going to have the time and we finally were able to get all the equipment where like we're redoing our whole dark room in our store, and I'm gassed up for that because like I was like, damn, like we have to keep operating this way until we can actually like do the research. All right, we did that. Now we can develop it and like do it to that next level. And that's the fun stuff. That's how your company gets better. That's how you can make more money, pay people more money, and like, there
needs to be like a full-time person here that's their job. Their job is that they come here and they get here in the morning. They're like, okay, what can I make more efficient, or what can I do? Because just like you said, if it's up to me or if it's up to everyone that's in their normal roles, then you just don't. That all goes out the window at like 8:01 because you're like, oh shit, you're putting out a fire, or you just have to get this out the door and things like that. So it's. Yeah.
And that's one of the things we want to like do with that program I was telling you guys about, that nonprofit program, is like, one, the first reason why I made it a nonprofit was because I understood that, one, if we created a nonprofit, it would be beneficial for the whole community, every print shop that uses it, all that stuff, because, not only can they write it off as a company expense, but they'll also, if they don't do it that way, they can write it off as like a subscription to a nonprofit and stuff like that, so they can use it to help themselves with taxes and stuff on the business side. But like being able to use that platform to help get you to that, like having a platform where it's like, no, we have some of the top printers that will actually just come into your shop and you can just have them come in for the day or 2 days, go through your process and tell you like a list of stuff that we can do to make it better. Like that would be dope, because then you wouldn't have to necessarily worry like, all right, am I growing? Am I developing? No, I have a schedule set time where somebody's going to actually come in and assess. Because like that's the thing too, and I'm sure you guys go through it, but one thing that I had to learn when I started going to other shops is like, you don't see everything that's actually happening or needs to change in your shop because you're in it all the time.
Sure.
So when you can step out or you get those fresh set of eyes in there, it's awesome, because
that's
it's
facts.
Like, it's huge.
That's why you want to, a consultant, or actually Dylan and I have talked about before, just other shop owners, just coming to your shop just for a couple of days or whatever, as like a fly on the wall almost, and then at the end saying, hey, you suck, change this or that. And then you go to their shop, and you do the same thing, and you don't charge each other or whatever.
You suck harder.
Before we go to a shop hack, speaking of shop hacks, I wanted to show you this hat we got, the sample beanie that we got from Atlantis. And one, it's sustainable. You see that? And then two, it's called the Andy.
Ooh,
I got my own beanies apparently.
that's dope. Trying to be like you, man.
Nice.
Joanne showed me that the other day. I was like, no way, no fucking way. But
That's
All
Well,
right.
Zach, do you have any questions for us?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't sure if I was gonna be able to ask you guys questions, so I'm excited. This is super exciting, by the way. I know we dove right into it because of the camera stuff and stuff, but I just want to say, like, I was thinking about this, especially on my run. I was like, this is so dope. Like, I feel like a music person is going on like Shade 4-5, but in the print world. So I'm like, dope. Like, this is awesome. So thank you guys. I
We're happy to have
appreciate
you,
it.
man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm amped for August 26th. I'm rolling through that, and I'll see you guys at Midlab. But yeah, I have a few questions. Well, the first question I wanted to ask you, I wanted to hear it from you guys, but like whoever can go first. But what sparked your interest that got you started?
Andy, do you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
nope. You go first, Dylan.
No, I gotta go.
Yep.
Mine was totally by accident. Well, kind of. I feel like I've always been the marketer or artistic kind of one, and when I was in a band in high school and then out of high school, I was the one who was in charge of like making the flyers for shows, and I always did old movie posters and like re-rendered them to look like a show flyer, because I also love movies. And then I was like, all right, well, I want to like be in charge of band merch. And so then I was like, all right, well, we ordered from somebody, and then I realized how much it cost. And then I was like, DIY, like I could probably figure this out. So then I started screen printing all of our band merch. And then that's kind of how I turned into starting my first company, Merch Buttons, which was I just made 1-inch buttons, but I didn't do any screen printing in merch buttons. It was like a separate thing. I kind of only did it for band merch. And then because I didn't want to print for somebody else, because it was very shitty how I was doing it, like a shitty 4-color single station. There was no flash. It was like this homemade thing. It just wasn't great. And then I grew Merch Buttons into outsourcing t-shirts and stickers, and then I just fell in love with the industry and the art of it. And it's I think the reason why I gravitated it so much is because it is art heavy and it's different every single day. And it's a lot like the band world, where you can talk to the same kinds of people. You're learning and talking with those kinds of people all day long. It's kind of like going on a tour, and you get to hang out with your friends and you talk shit, and then you do your work for a little bit, and then you go back to hanging out and talking again. It's kind of like that every day. So that's why I love it, and I love the craft of it and making cool shit.
Hell yeah.
Okay, Andy, your turn.
My turn.
I guess it's sort of similar. Like it was by accident. I just was fooling around with it in my garage as a hobby, and I thought I originally went to like my degrees in psychology, and I thought that maybe that was like that's what I was going to do. But I don't know. I had been in school for so long, and once I got out, I didn't want to go, because with psychology you have to keep going beyond a bachelor's, and I didn't want to do that anymore. So I wanted a break, and then I was making. I think I was making some shirts, and somebody. I'd never been paid to make any shirts, and then somebody said, "Hey, this comic book store said we need some shirts, and I'll pay you to do it." And so I did. And I was like, wait a second, wait, I can make a living doing this? There's no possible way. Like, this isn't real. This is too fun. And so I was like, okay, well, that's what I'm going to do. And then my second job I got was for this place called Winners. It was a restaurant bar. And they ordered black shirts with neon ink on it. And I'm like, I got this. This is going to be great. And I
you
went to print them,
so
and I fucked it all up. Because I didn't have, like you just said, I didn't have a flash. I didn't have anything. I didn't know about underbasing. I never heard of it. I was like, what do you mean you have to underbase to make it bright, like a neon bright? And so I did it, and I was like, oh no. And so I knew they like I couldn't sell them to him. I knew I had to go make it right. And so I didn't have any money. I think a flash back then, the flash I wanted was like $500 or $600. I didn't have $500 or $600. I drove to this distributor in St. Louis that I talked into just letting me have the flash on a not an official, financing or anything. It was like, hey, I'll pay you in 2 months over time, And he said, okay. I mean, I got super lucky, and I went back and I flashed them, and they looked good, and obviously, or better.
Yeah.
I was going to say, not obviously.
They looked better, and that's how I made. Then I was like, okay, I'm in this for real, and so it was a struggle. It's a struggle because back then there was no YouTube. There wasn't. I didn't know what I was doing. I had never worked in a shop, and I had to figure it all out, and so.
Yeah, I'm just now thinking
just like
of that.
you said, though.
Now, yeah, I feel like I didn't even, when I first started, I didn't think I really even looked on YouTube or anything like that. I feel like it was just 100% trial and error.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was like, I know you need inks. Like, let's just mix these and do this and see what happens. And
Right.
I mean, there's tons of stories of like chemicals used that were not meant to be airborne that probably took years off of our lives. And like, all
that's
this
how I
shit.
cleaned pallets, because I had never heard of
You ever
pallet
hear
tape.
Oh man, you ever hear about somebody drinking press wash?
No.
Oh my god, Cody drank press wash by accident. Somebody put it in a Poland Spring bottle, and this dude drank it like a shot of vodka. I had to take him to the hospital.
Nice.
But,
so now he has no teeth.
Nah, he's straight. He's straight. He's good. He actually got some like crazy screen printing powers. Like he can mix any PMS without looking at the book. So
Yeah.
that's what he got from that. But
super.
Now, so that was a two-step question, right? So I don't want to assume, but I don't like to assume either. But it sounds like you guys really wouldn't change your decision, right, to get in what you were doing, stuff like that. So
Definitely.
My next question is like, do you think your passion got stronger? Or it's the same that it was when it started, or, it's not as strong, or whatever the case is,
It's way stronger now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm way more. I mean, I'm also like I could never do anything else at this point. Like I'm so far in. I feel like I've just done it so long and been so involved in all these things that like I just want to do more and more and more. Like I just want to learn every aspect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
I
dope.
feel like I'm at that age where like I would, if I like to read, I would just be getting more and more books and sitting down at night and reading. But now it's like, no, I'll just do a podcast, or like, no, I'll just travel to this event or this camp or this thing. And it's like, I just want to absorb as much as possible.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm the same way, but for me, it's more of been an ebb and flow. I think the struggle for me has been that as we scaled, my role changed, so it wasn't that I was on press, or it wasn't that I was R&Ding or anything like that. And so I mean, there's been times where I'm like, fuck this place, fuck screen printing. I'm so done, and luckily I go home, I have a sandwich, I go to bed, and I wake up and I don't feel the same way the next day. And I think that's the way it is for a lot of things, for a lot of people. I mean, if you're in a band and you want to make music and go on tour and have, and go to shows and things like that, but all of a sudden it turns into this business, which crushes, like it's soul crushing. You're like, wait a minute, this isn't fun anymore. The same thing, Joanna and I were just talking, because she's trying to be, an artist, all in artist full time. Yet that means that it has to be treated like a business. And she's like, fuck, I just want to paint. I don't like the business side of it. That's not fun, and it's crushing my creativity. So that's what's really, I think, tough, is to maintain that balance while you have this shop, because maybe you got in it because you love the craft of screen printing. Then all of a sudden, now you're just, like you said earlier, you're where you got bills. You have to, make.
You have employees coming in complaining about stuff, and
or customers complain, or who knows what's complaining that crushes that creativity, or that I love this stuff. And so you have to be very careful to be able to balance that sort of stuff, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
So my next question, I got a few, so I hope you guys don't.
Yeah,
You
go
can
ahead,
cut me
yeah.
off whenever. Do you guys ever take the, obviously we were just mentioned it and we talked about it for a while, but do you ever, not like the aha moment, but like the, oh damn, man, this is pretty cool. When you do see your team and you see your employees rocking, like you ever take the second and be like, damn, man, this is dope. Like this started from one person and now we got like a crew. Like this is cool. You guys ever take that time, or do you find yourself like having those moments and stuff like that?
I do it quite a bit. I feel like it's more in the social setting than it is the work setting. Sometimes it's work setting, like I'm in the office a lot of the day, and now the office is kind of, it's not right next to production, but it's, I'm away enough where I don't really like hear them giggling and making loud noises and everything else. So I'll leave my office and I'll go to walk through the shop because I got to do something, and I'll see them like fucking laughing at each other, or like, high-fiving, or fucking just making jokes at each other or whatever. But they're also like cranking and like getting jobs done. That's when it's super rewarding. Is like music's cranked, they're laughing, they're getting their shit done. Everyone's in their zone, just like printing. Doors are wide open. It's just it's a beautiful sight. But the other part of it is we go from that, and it's optional. Like all the things that are here that are like the perks of like we grill on Wednesday or whatever else we do, it's optional to them. They don't have to do it. Like I'm just offering like, hey, I'm grilling. Like if you guys want to eat, like there's food. To see the whole team. You know what I mean? Like nobody left, nobody went to do something else. The whole team is at the picnic table. We're eating, we're getting together. Like they bring dishes to pass and stuff. It's like they went out of their way to do that. That's when it's kind of like, all right, we're a team and we're together and we're all happy to be here. So yeah, it's pretty sweet.
I think it's important to take time out to be grateful. I think that, as you have to be careful that every day isn't exactly the same, and otherwise, a year goes by, and next thing you know, 5 years, and then what? And so I think that I have to, I purposefully, pump the brakes a little, pause, and say, this is pretty fucking cool. But I don't do it. I probably don't do that often enough. And I find myself, I don't know. I find myself never, I should do it more. Maybe that, I don't know. Because I think that, you celebrate your victories and you're like, wow, that was a fucking kick-ass week. But then you got to you look forward or look ahead and like, what are we doing? Because it doesn't last. Like I have no idea. There's no guarantees that we have any work 3 weeks from now. And I have a responsibility to somehow make sure that happens. And so I probably don't take enough time.
Stop and relish what's going on now.
Yeah. Cause it's always on to the next thing. Like it's,
you're
what's
a beast
next?
at that though. You're a beast at that. Like it's super inspirational because you're like go mode, like all the time, which is dope to see, especially with the shop development.
Thanks, man.
No doubt, man. It's like I said, you guys are super inspirational and stuff like that. So it's always awesome to see that stuff. But no, that's cool because like I feel like, as long as shop owners and stuff, we do have that appreciation. I feel like we're always that it puts us in a position to always put together successful teams. So that's why I wanted to see like, how you guys thought about that and stuff like that. That's
when you're on top of the world, like when you think it's all figured out and the next day you fuck up like 100 shirts.
Kicked in the nuts every day. Yep.
Oh, that happens all the time. And then you send them to the Zim gun and Zim 100 shirts. But nah, so that was one of the questions I wanted to ask. So this one's a quick question, right? When was the last time you printed?
Yesterday.
Good. Nice. Andy?
I wish I could say yesterday, but I was home.
Oh, man.
Hey, I have an excuse. I have an excuse. I had COVID all week.
All right.
But before that...
There it is.
Let's fake COVID right now for the
people. I would say then last week would be my answer. Yeah.
Nice.
Not too long.
What's your, so building off of that question, what's your favorite thing to print?
Mm-hmm.
Like style.
Heather gray shirt, black ink.
Distressed print.
Done. We're out. Send it out the door.
One hit, that's it. I think that's true though. Like realistically, if I was to talk about it, like as a printer, I mean, it's that mentality too. Like most printers don't wear screen printed shirts; they wear blanks because they can critique everything and whatever else. But I feel like realistically, when we look at art all day long, I feel like the strongest art is always when someone can convey what they're trying to do in like a 1 or maybe a 2 color print.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's people that just go crazy. They're like, okay, I drew this black outline. Now I need to fill it with color. And they'll do like a 12 color or whatever. Like, yeah, that's cool. Like it looks cool when it's all done. But realistically, I feel like it's more powerful and it's more wearable and it's softer and it's just like a more appreciated print if it's simplified.
Oh, yeah.
So I think my personal favorite, is like the 1 color vintage or the 1 color, or I just feel like it's underrated.
That's cool.
I'm the same.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever he
He's
said.
He's like, what he said, I'm there. I'm there. Word, I love it. Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with that stuff. I feel like that's cool too, because it goes back to like, the thing that the three of us have all mentioned, we all like the art aspect of it, so that goes back to the artist and the designer, how, like you said, how well can you convey what you're trying to get across without having to go crazy. I grew up hearing from my dad, less is more all the time. And like, I feel like in screen printing, that's where you see it come true the most, is like,
I just think it's one of those things too, like you think about the long lastingness of things, or the classic. It's like, I always try to tell a customer when they're like, oh, we want to rebrand, or do you have a designer that can make us a logo? And then 9 times out of 10, they're not talking about a logo. They're talking about a graphic. Like they're talking about something that we could use. Like they're like, oh, I want a teddy bear holding a knife with, it's like 6 colors and it's like this and this. I'm like, that's a graph. Like that's not a logo.
Yeah, that's not a logo.
I was like, when you think logos, what you should be thinking of is Adidas has 3 solid bars, Nike as a swoosh, Apple as an apple with a bite taken out of it. It's all stuff that's solid, 1 color branding, that if you see that apple with a bite taken out of it, it's Apple. You see the swoosh, it's Nike.
Yeah,
it's not Nike isn't a guy holding a basketball with like 5 colors going. It's not a logo. It's not. You're thinking 2 different things.
Yeah.
So I think like when you think of that, I want this to last. I want it to be classic. I want it to work on any color. I want it to work on anything. It needs to be a simplified 1 color option.
Right.
So
no, I agree, man. I think it's easy that way. It's easy that way. Because don't get me wrong, guys. Like I mentioned Mads and stuff like that. Huge fan of the specialty printing and stuff like that. The only thing that I'm still trying to, figure out with that is like, there's a difference, like you were just saying, is like, single color done very nicely, almost no feel to it, cool design. It's going to last longer than the shirt, and that's the
Don't
other
get me
thing.
wrong. I love a 14 color sim process print.
Oh,
and we
same.
get fucking stoked on it. Like
Same.
I like doing that shit all day long. I'm just saying that for me personally, like I'm doing this thing now for fun, this NYT club stuff like I have on right now. It's like all the designs I'm making, I have the capability to do all this crazy shit. It's all like CVCTs with like a 1 color water-based print on it, because that's what I like. That's what I want it to be. Like I could have colored all this and done all this, like, I could have done like a high density over and a glow in the dark and like all this other shit. I just don't want it. Like I don't want that.
Have you ever set up a 5 or a 6 or a 7 and you're regging them out, and then you just print one of the colors and it looks fucking better?
You're like, oh, this looks this looks good
all the time. The best is doing that when customers are in the shop and like showing them throughout while like you're building all their colors
and
up.
They paid their life savings to get a 10 color print.
Exactly, yo. We had somebody with that, so they had like you were saying, some crazy character. The character was like riding a spaceship and stuff like that, like and all that. And he came in and we showed him what it looked like with just a full white base and a black outline. And he was like, "Are you serious?" And he's like, "That's only 2 colors and 2 screens." And I'm like, "Yep, but you wanted the grays, the reds, everything else in there."
Well,
so
that's why I said the artist
takes
the time to make the black outline drawing.
Yeah.
And then they color it in. It's like, dude, just look at the black outline drawing by itself. Like it conveys everything you're trying to convey. You don't need all the extras. Like, you want to color it because the kid in you wants to fucking color book. the thing, but it's like it doesn't need to be like I don't know. It works. Yeah. It depends on the artwork. Like that's the short answer, but like realistically,
yeah. Simple. Keep it simple.
Yeah, less is more for me. I feel like. Do you have any shop hacks?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh man. I mean, I got a few
shop hacks is a umbrella term. It could be anything to do with business. It could be with how you have the front room, with anything. Like, do you have anything that you do that you feel like, oh, I think I figured that out?
I feel like I have, but then I go to other shops and realize people do the same thing just in a different way.
It doesn't matter. Maybe nobody's heard it before.
I don't know. I mean, I do a bunch of stuff. I try to really keep it self-made here. You know, like, you know, we got the one thing we do. I've seen a lot of shops do it. I just saw Sean did it at his shop, but like, you know, using ripped screens and stuff. We just take those frames, and if we're not going to get them restretched and stuff, we just turn them right into tables. You know, use that. You know, we use them for different things. Like, you know, I use the bigger ones. I'll create like fans folders with them off the walls and stuff for cooling stations, off presses and stuff. Just little things.
What are you doing with them for that?
So like I'll use the frame. So if you use like a 24 by 31 frame and stuff like that, it's like the perfect size to put like a 20, I think it's the 24 by 24 box.
Oh, a box fan?
Yeah. So it fits right in that. So you can actually use it like, it's essentially, it's kind of like, you know how they make the Stampinator in a frame where it's like it's in a frame and stuff like that. It's the same thing just with box fans. So like doing stuff, cool little things like that, you know, you know, on the manual side, like one thing that I look at that I'm trying to work on, like shop hack wise on the manual side, is like really trying to elevate the manual process in game so that it's similar to the auto process. You know, like in my opinion, auto is like the pinnacle of how you can get your quality and stuff like that, because it's has less human error
Consistency.
In it. Yeah, exactly. So with that, it's like trying to get the printing process to that. So like, you know, just figuring little things out, you know, like one thing that we do in our shop, and like I tell other shops, you know, you should do it, especially if you have a puller or something, is like, you know, always set a smoothing screen on the opposite side of your base. Because if you do that in your presses and registration and stuff, you can have your what do you call it? Your puller actually smoothing out your base for you while you're still printing and stuff like that. So like just little things like that, you know, like one thing we're working on right now is trying to figure out if I can make a manual Stampinator out of a heat press. I'm running into the issue where like the heat press aspect element of it is too heavy for majority of the manual press heads to actually handle. And I got close where I was using like industrial magnets and it would like hold the head up and stuff. But then like you deal with the aspect of you really have to like disengage the magnets. So I'm not sure how much I'll still spend on that project. So I switched over.
You just need that badass manual squeegee from Action and just be done with it on a manual. And then when you get the auto, get the Stampinator.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things we've been figuring that out. Like honestly, the smoothing screen, like on a manual, it works just as good. Like we'll just use the easy squeegee with somebody on the other side, and it works. But just coming up with cool little hacks. Like the other thing too is like how can you translate it to, for us, like how can you translate it to live? You know, like I look at it as like how could you do this and wow people? So like, you know, one of the easier tricks we found for the smoothing and stuff that I'm hoping it works, it's a hypothesis in the making, is believe it or not, those like 14, I think they're like 14 by 14 or those 16 by 16 circuit heat presses. Because the cool thing about those is like they have a handle on top, right? So you can literally just have a stand next to your press and instead
pick it
of
up and drop it
and you'd be good, and then just keep it rolling, you know, So trying just different hacks out like that. You know, other than that, nothing crazy that I can think of.
That's
you know,
good.
like,
No, you're good.
Like I said, the big thing is like, I appreciate and I understand. And like, one thing I tell people too, when they come work here is like, yo, we're not in a creative time period right now. And like when we're like for those hours of work, when people show up for the work day, I try to let people know is like, yo, this isn't the time to create. This is the time to do, in the sense like it's not a time to recreate the whole process that we've put together right now. And the same thing's kind of for like when I do is like usually I'll take other people's hacks and try to figure out how to make them work for me and stuff like that. But nothing crazy. I mean, like I said, the baby oil that I brought up, that's a life hack if you wanted to, or a hack if you wanted to try
just
that.
baby oil in general. Just introduce it more into your life.
Everything, you know, everything. Just lather yourself up. It's good. It's good before you start printing, you know. I don't know. The stretching is huge. I tell people, I don't know if you do it, but like make sure you stretch before
like your body.
Before runs and stuff. Like if you're
we
stretched,
stretch
like,
before the podcast, so we don't even have to.
Yeah, it's just giving a nice one of these, all these things, you know, because that's the thing is like, you know, your back will get bad. I'm trying to think, you know, it's funny because when we're talking about this, like we were talking about this all week, you know, like Andy, Cody's a huge fan of you and your shop and stuff. So he was like, dude, like.
It seems like the guy who drank press wash would be Andy's fan. That makes sense.
So, but, oh, my bad. Oh, no. My whole computer died. That could be the end of the podcast. Am I still here?
Yeah, you're back. Yeah, for some reason your
all right,
video
we'll just leave
froze.
it at that. No, you're good. Let's do some quick takes.
Yeah, let's do. And before we go to that, though, I just want to say, Cody, thanks for that. But you do never want to. They say you never want to meet your hero, so don't come to this shop because it is like Dylan always says that we fuck up 50% here, and the good news is that we're very good at fixing the 50% we fuck up.
Yeah.
But all right, so my first question is, I'm going to call an audible here and change it.
All right.
What's your favorite thing about Boston?
Food.
What food in Boston?
I just like the fact that we have access to all types of really good food. One thing I've realized when I travel, I feel like most places have one really type of food that's like their showcase food, and all the other food is kind of junk. And the one thing I feel like about Boston, because it's a hub, is like it has like so many different. Yeah, a little bit of everything, and it's all really good. You know, the other thing too is like my second, like the thing that I'd probably put right up next to the food is the competitive aspect of Boston. It's like a double-edged sword, but like, you know, we're Boston, they call us massholes for a reason. And like the reason for it is because like everybody's in a competition with themselves and with everybody else. So it's kind of awesome though, because I feel like that's why we are like a city of hard workers, and like it pushes us, and we're go-getters and stuff. So it's cool.
That's awesome.
So food and competitiveness.
Nice. This one I really don't know the answer to yet. 2 presses or 10 presses?
Whew, 2 presses.
2 presses for you to manage because you wanted to branch out and have many branches.
Yeah, so the reason why I say 2 presses is because, you know, I feel like you only need 2 dope presses in one location with 2 dope printers, and then go open another location.
So 2 presses per location.
Per location. There you go. You got the real.
Manageable per location.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right.
Know the answer to this too. Test the waters or dive in the deep end.
Oh, you know me, dude. I'm not only diving, I'm doing a massive belly flop after I do a backflip into it.
There you go. Perfect. Sweet tea or unsweet tea?
Oh, sweet tea all day, baby.
Dude, fuck you.
You can go hang out with my dad. He'll drink the non-sweet tea.
Me and your real man of a father will drink some unsweet iced tea.
Yo, he is.
Okay. Andy?
What is for din tonight?
Tonight, oh man, shoot, that's a great question. So I'll probably either eat at the skate park fundraiser, which would be dope. Shout out Cody's brother, actually, Corey Langway. He's an amazing chef. He's actually the one going to be cooking for everybody at the fundraiser. So I'll probably be eating over there, hopefully something bomb. Or I'm going to a late night art and paint jam that I'm invited to, and they're going to have an empanada truck. So maybe empanadas, which I love too. So
that sounds wonderful.
Or both.
Yeah, or both. Probably both. I eat a lot. Like people are very disgusted by how much I eat, so it's probably both. Yeah. Wash it down with sweet tea.
Yeah, I don't even want to hear about it. Really appreciate you coming on and doing this with us, man. It's awesome.
No doubt. Appreciate
keep doing what you're doing. I love you're super into all the art of it and the craft of it, and I encourage all those people that are like that to just fucking keep doing it. So thanks for doing this with us, man.
No doubt. Thank you guys.
Yeah,
I can't wait to link with y'all.
Ditto what he just said. And I wasn't going to the water-based camp until I heard you were. I mean, Dylan was going, I know, but whatever. But now I think I I better jump on and get a ticket.
Andy, you should definitely do it. I'll convince Cody. I gotta convince Cody now. I'll be like, yo, let's all just get.
Can he sit next to Andy the whole time and like breathe heavy on his neck and like all this stuff?
I'll try to see if he can like take a shot of like some press wash too, so then that way Andy just smells press wash on his breath all day.
It's the best cologne. It's better than Brute.
Oh man.
All right, man. We'll see you later.
Oh yeah. Oh, I gotta also say one quick thing, because
Yeah.
I told him he called. We were on the phone this morning. He was like, "Yo, you gotta give me a shout out on this. Y'all gotta get Richard Tilley on the show, man."
He's on our list.
I know. Y'all gotta get him on there. All right, have a good combo.
We will.
So, all right. But
See you, dude.
I appreciate you guys. Have a good weekend. All right.
Yeah, you too, man. Later.